them. They haven't answered anything I've asked. Are we ready? All right. Being 10 o'clock, call the meeting of the Public Improvements Infrastructure Committee to order. All three districts are present. Notice this meeting was posted on July 29th, 2021. Item 1 is discussion possible action to approve the minutes of the meeting of July 20.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 2, discussion possible action on landscaping improvements at the courthouse and the annex.
No report.
Okay, no action. 3, discussion possible action regarding an update on capital projects specific to the TIF 2. That would be our front entrance and security enhancements.
No report today.
No action. 4, discussion possible action on the TIF 2 and TIF 8 budgets.
We received our reimbursement for the roof, and we've got that deposited in the account. So that just leaves $207,000 left on TIF 2, and we'll probably close that out before the year ends.
All right. Okay, any questions of Stacy?
No, sir.
If not, motion to receive.
Motion to receive report.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5, discussion possible action regarding the ongoing space utilization plan for the county annex.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, Keith?
Currently, we're stalled on 6. However, we had discussed perhaps temporarily relocating emergency management to another location because we have disrupted their space as a result of the plumbing work that's being done on the east side of the annex. It would be a bad thing to have an emergency where the space would be needed, the equipment would be needed, and it's unavailable because work is taking place in that area. There will be some asbestos work that begins to happen here shortly. I don't know what kinds of.
Is this a temporary or permanent?
It would be a
Relocation.
temporary relocation. Again, I don't know how long these kinds of efforts would take place, but we met with emergency management. They did provide a layout of the unoccupied space on the west end, first floor of the annex, south side of the hall. This is the floor plan that they've suggested. Stairwell. This space is open, and they just want a few simple walls built there. I don't have costs yet associated with this.
Does that fit in line with potential permanent solution for that, for a future use on the first floor, west end?
I think we would build this as a temporary location, skin the walls one side with drywall, except a couple of them,
Okay.
but something that could be removed easily or reconfigured
Right.
at little cost.
Okay.
Have you thought of other spaces? Because there is a competing project. We've got all those books on the north side of the annex that need to come to somewhere.
I hope that, in knowing how long these projects take, the timelines wouldn't interfere. I would expect we could maybe put emergency management down there quickly and finish up with what's happening over there in his space.
I know you don't
Without
have
any-
any, I'm sorry. I know you don't have any associated costs, but do you have an estimate of how much time that would take to make the adjustments over there?
We could throw some walls up pretty quick because the costs are minimal and the scope is minimal. I think the only issue would be the connectivity with all of the data that he has, the screens and so forth, the communications equipment that he uses. I think that would be the most difficult aspect of this, and Chris could probably speak to that.
Chairman, I'll move to receive the document that Keith just gave us.
Second?
All in favor of receiving the design?
Aye.
Aye. No, I don't think we're done. We're just receiving that floor plan.
communications go, we're talking days and weeks. My crew can get him moved, relocated up and working in pretty short order, probably a week.
There is another component to this. There's some PPE equipment, things that emergency management has in their possession that's currently stored at the social services location. That needs to be moved. I can't remember, did this floor plan anticipate using some of that space to store that?
It actually did not, but because of the urgency of the situation with the PPE at social services, to be perfectly honest with you and completely candid, we're on the verge of losing potentially thousands of dollars in PPE because of the
Yeah,
condition.
David, if you want to take that out and move it to our yard, just get with Tex or Brian.
Adequate. We could,
You're just needing basically
Field.
controlled storage, right? There's not a lot of items that are heavy, or we're talking masks and
that's
some,
correct, it's in boxes.
Palletized, though.
they're palletized?
Well, they need to be wrapped to stay because the moisture content in that basement has caused boxes to sag, and we are truly in danger of losing thousands of dollars in PPE.
I would suggest, if you haven't, let's see, given that you need to put them on pallets, maybe we could work with Mr. Warren and somehow utilize their space temporarily.
We've discussed that. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, go right ahead.
I didn't speak with him. I know you did.
Okay, no, actually, I got mine from Chris. The challenge, that is one of the options. We're looking at every option because we went out there, Chris and I went out there yesterday. And again, I don't want to sensationalize, but the situation was dire. And that was one of the options we looked at. However, gaining access on our schedule, flexible schedule anytime
Okay,
is something that's.
So to tie this to what we're talking about, storing those materials in this new location is not ideal.
That, it's a possibility. At least part of them could go in there, and if we could utilize some of the space directly adjacent to the west, and we just barely talked about this, where the abstractors, I believe is what it's called, are doing services in there, we could actually put some in the back of that also and still leave them space for activities there. But yeah, it's kind of parallel paths. The interruptions to our facility here for the temporary space, and then the PPE thing, which really came to our attention last Thursday and Friday, and yesterday was significantly emphasized.
Yeah, and I just learned of this PPE situation about 10 minutes ago.
It is, again, I don't want to sensationalize, but the PPE situation is serious.
Okay. All right. Keith, to do this build-out, given the troubles we're now having getting anything built on 6, are we going to run into those same type problems?
I think we won't come anywhere near the threshold if we do this minimally. So a little bit of framing, a little bit of drywall, we're out of there. A little bit of electrical that we'll handle in-house, the communications will handle in-house. No paint, no ceiling, no flooring. Keeping in mind that this is just a temporary location, very, very basic, and I don't think we'll approach any threshold that might worry people.
David might shoot me, but that's okay. Well, given that it's temporary, do we not have access to utilize cubicles that might speed this process? My concern is that the length of time it takes to get things done.
Cubicles we could do that in an afternoon.
And then it's a matter of Chris and the communications team.
Yeah, and I think we have enough cubicles within our grasp to move on this quickly.
Mr. Barnes, would you be amenable to, rather than us building walls in an effort to try to get you out there to a usable space, using cubicles and other things as,
Yeah, we just need a solution. If that's, comes out to be the best solution. The movement, the wall construction that's on that drawing, if it's the one I think it is, we're talking about one temporary wall that is currently in place to move 6 feet, and then put in a total span of maybe 18 or 20 feet of additional wall, 3 small walls, and that's it. it's very minimal anyway. But yeah, if, whatever we need to do, we've got to have usable space.
Yeah, I mean, if you could utilize the existing footprint of that one wall that's there and make cubicles work otherwise, I think it might speed things up. But
Actually, part of it maybe could do a staged approach. with
Chris has
that.
got an idea.
Communications room, and there's one consideration too, you'll notice at the bottom of that, there's a large number of file cabinets that are in there, that I believe are the civil section, and those need to be somewhat secure, and we don't want access to those. One of those short walls is to wall off a section so that all those file cabinets can either go in that piece or to another space, whatever. There's been talk of other places, but would completely remove our access to it and secure those files for the VA civil. That's a 6 or 8 foot section wall.
So he shoots at me first. I like the cubicle idea. We can move on that quickly.
The cubicle idea, as far as speed, is good, but it's going to pose problems with electricity and communications. You can't put receptacles and things in a cubicle.
Well, how long are we talking about being there, though? That's, I mean,
So now you're up in the ceiling.
Well, we're going to be up in the ceiling anyway. We're going to be up in the ceiling running communications anyway.
are we talking a matter of weeks that he's there, months that he's there? I mean,
The plumbing contractors are not done. We've got finishes that will be applied on every floor, and then we have open chases that lead right down to the space he's in. Also, we have an asbestos abatement procedure scheduled to take place that will affect his office and will make it unavailable.
his office only, or what about the larger jury assembly room?
Not the large jury assembly room, but that small office space adjacent to where David's located.
And I believe that started today, did it not, Chris?
Not yet.
Starts this week though, right?
Starts Monday.
Starts Monday, and it finishes before August is over on the
It was
abatement.
scheduled to start today. They had to push it back to Monday. They have 2 weeks, starting Monday, they have 2 weeks to get finished, which gives us a week to get everything back in place before jury starts.
And to answer your question, Joe, the first phase of the West End plumbing is currently scheduled, if everything stays on schedule, to finish about November 30th. And then we'll switch over to the other end,
Yeah, it's
That's
3 months
got-
from today, 90 days.
if everything stays on schedule.
And the pattern is, that's plumbing schedule, then the interior finishes and the sheet rock and the
I-
damage.
I'm not qualified to tell you what you need to do your business, but I am qualified to say that the more that we anticipate trying to build, the longer it is until you're able to do your business. So if I think it's a great idea to utilize that space. Obviously, it's not going to be workable for you to be there. It hasn't been workable.
Correct.
I think our preference would have been, we would have known that much sooner than today and taken care of this up front. But as far as I'm concerned, I would leave it to the three of you to work out what's going to get him down there and up and running in the quickest amount of time. And then we'll come back and address the PPE, maybe. But those are my thoughts.
I'm on board with that. The PPE seems to be the urgent thing, though. What is,
It is. It is a,
Why don't we do that under new business? I truly
okay,
did,
with that,
I
yes.
truly did just learn of that 10 minutes ago from our Health and Safety Director.
well, if that was a motion you just made, I'll second that as far as moving forward
Okay.
with the space down there
I'll make
for
that
the
a motion.
temporary. Okay, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry, machine went to sleep. Okay. All right. Item 6, discussion possible action on the XXX stabilization project. Anything?
Yeah, I've got a few slides to show you if I can get them.
All right. Is there a motion? It's not attached. The slides are not attached to our agenda. Motion to receive the presentation?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, last time we
Stacy?
showed you some good pictures, and then they had suffered a little setback because of all the water came back 20 foot deep. It receded, lowered again to where they could get back in there, and they've made some progress. This is their stockpile of materials. sitting on Triple X Road. There's the first weir. It's not complete, but they've got a really good start. All the bottom is in, and they brought up a couple of layers with their erosion mat through it. That water right behind the gentleman standing there is about the location of the third weir. That water's only about 3 foot deep, so he'll be able to pump that out in about a day and be able to do his work as he comes south. And you can see in the background there, they've rechannelized the river some 200 plus feet to the east to get the river basically off of them so they could build these weirs. And then that's just a picture to the south. If you remember, we lost one house out there north of here, the Bufords. This is the next house to the south, in behind those trees, and the river was starting to get into that pretty good. We lost about 10 feet of bank there in the last 2 weeks. So this is real timely. Hopefully he can continue to do his work and keep that river shifted and save that property. So everything's going pretty well on that project right now. Progress is good. They're on schedule to finish on time, that segment. We have a court hearing this week to deal with the last property owner. And I think that's all I have today.
Charles, you have anything? No. Okay. Is there a motion to receive the update on the project?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
K7, discussion possible action regarding the Canadian River project near the Wilshire Bridge.
Got some more slides on that one.
A motion to receive this presentation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Stacy, make sure they get the pictures.
What am I doing wrong here? Yeah, it's the first. Okay. That's looking back north from Wilshire. On the left is the entrenchment that we're building. You're seeing that the rock is 2 foot above the ground. The original plan was to put all 9 foot of the trench below ground, and we couldn't hold the slopes, so we shallowed it up to 7 feet with 2 feet above ground. It'll still launch and still work really well, according to the expert. And it just looks like a windrow rock, 2 feet tall, but it's actually got 7 feet below that. That's more of an up-close picture of it, how that thing's going to look. There's a track hose in the background placing that rock. They were about a third of the way done last week. So the schedule's really going well, better than we thought. If they keep on the same pace, if they get rock brought to them, I think they'll finish this month on the trench fill revetment.
That's the biggest issue we're facing right now is getting the rock delivered. Some days it's about half of what we're expecting, so.
Right, they can't get truck drivers.
Having to
They've got the
core it
rock, but
and
they don't have the drivers.
drivers and, yeah, so. Otherwise, we're making good progress.
So that project is going well. We've actually been invited, Mr. Barnes informed us, to make a grant application through FEMA, just like we did Triple X at this location. The engineer that designed this revetment, we retained them as a retained consultant through the federal process, so we can just continue on with them, and they're looking at that grant application right now, see if we can apply for it. So what this body needs to do is think about ideas of what we would want to do long-term out there. I definitely want to increase the length of that bridge on Wilshire, for one.
Well-
And then anything else that we think we might need to complete this application.
Stace, we had met with the Corps, and they were going to get back to us, and I know we're talking Corps time. Have you heard anything?
No, I've been bugging them a little bit, but yeah, core time is different than our time. I don't know exactly what they meant when they said get back to us quickly, but it's been 6 or 7 weeks.
Okay, when's the last time you,
About 2 weeks ago, I
all right.
pinged him.
And what we're talking about here is we had received notification that we were going to have some money come available to do a study of this particular section, but we had waited so long and couldn't continue to wait. We had to move forward ourselves, so we've asked that that money be applied back to the north. So from the extent of our project further to the north to try to come up with a solution. So it's one of the things we're looking at.
So we kind of got all the players at the table again, FEMA, the Corps, and us, and if we can just all come together with an idea.
What's the timeframe we're looking at, David or Stacy, on needing to get information for that grant application?
There are currently grant funds available, and that's a moving target because of the ice storm, which has done what they call a 90-day lock. Those funds are available and basically committed. But the extreme cold situation that we had in February is bringing additional funds to the table. So there's a lot of first come, first serve for allocation at the state and FEMA level.
So
it's-
Stacy, rather than doing one kind of comprehensive approach, knowing that we have some factors with the core that we can't really control, is it possible that we could seek 2 grant applications for this location? One that might allow us to be reimbursed some or all of the cost for this, since we're footing the bill. And then the second, to look at your bridge and solutions from the point of our project further to the north?
We'll look at all possibilities, Joe. There is a good amount of money. I think I heard there's like $12 million available competitively.
It's dependent upon that lock. There's 2 different timeframes when they lock in available
Okay,
funds.
well, my preference would be that we have a project that's ongoing, that if we can get that approved for reimbursement, we do that, and then submit for a second phase, if you will.
Yeah, we can certainly do that, and if nothing else, if the reimbursement doesn't come through on the portion that you're currently funding, that will more than cover, I would think, or at least would be substantial towards the match that's going to be required for the second project, and the simple fact that those funds have already been expended and are in place, I would think would be a benefit to the grant opportunity. They should look favorably at that.
Okay, yeah, if you'll keep us posted, because I'm eager to try to get some cash back. Speaking of reimbursements, where are we at on the ice storm reimbursement?
That, all 3 districts have put information in, but to be honest with you, it's disappointing what's going on at FEMA. Nick and I have been looking at that. In fact, we worked on it, I believe, the first of last week. They came back for the District 1 numbers. They had some corrected numbers. We had some estimates, as you recall, $2 million estimate, and different pieces were estimated costs. They came back after going through the worksheets with real numbers, requested that we put those in, which we did. We plugged all that in. So District 1 is moving to the next phase of that process. It's moving forward. District 2 and District 3, they have not even gotten to the point of looking at those numbers, which is what we just completed with District 1. So honestly don't know for 2 and 3.
And we still don't know whether or not our reimbursement to District 1 will be tied to when they get their stuff done.
I don't believe it will,
Okay.
to be honest with you. The indications, I haven't got a hard, fast statement decision out of them in that regard, but the way everything's working, because yours is a separate project, and District 2 and District 3 are all separate projects under the Oklahoma County umbrella, it appears, keyword, that those will be funded independently.
Okay, all right.
And yours is coming out to about 1.7 something. So your estimates, preliminary estimates, were in good shape.
Okay, all right. Any other questions for David?
No, motion to approve, receive report.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
8, discussion possible action regarding our capital improvements list.
No changes.
Okay, no action unless you guys have something, all right. 9, discussion possible action regarding the State Office of Management and Enterprise Services Job Order Contracting Program. Chantel, Stacy, who?
Well, OMES has a new program. They just launched it, I guess Monday was its first official day. Long story short, you can now buy a general contractor off state contract. And we've seen a presentation of the program, and it's really quite impressive what they've done. They've actually covered all the bases. It qualifies for federal reimbursement, should you put your project through that. They have something like 280,000 predetermined prices for different parts of the projects. They have 6 GCs to select from in this county, and they can always add to or take from the list. And it works similar to their roofing program or their asbestos program. So it just gives us another tool in the tool chest should, I think, we want to go that direction. And I think you should hear from Chantel that it is a viable option as opposed to the traditional design build procurement that she does.
I went to the website trying to educate myself a little bit, and there's not a lot of, in the other programs that they offer, there's some more detail and there's some associated contracts. With this one, there's nothing there yet. Is it a matter of just time?
I think so.
Because they just launched 2 days ago? Okay. And then you said it's like our roofing program, so if we were to utilize these services, we would pay an administrative fee.
Yeah, there is an associated administrative fee to OMES.
Do we know what that is? Is it 7%? That seems to be.
I have not seen the fee schedule.
Okay.
But from the presentation, there's actually a couple of less than 1%. Added together, I think you're going to look at somewhere between 7 and 8%.
Okay. So at this point, we're just receiving this information, and then once we
Yeah.
get the program details,
Well,
or do you have
you may not be able to go this far today, but we've got a project, the new front entrance at Juvie that will be ready to bid this month. And I'd actually like to try to run that through this program just to test it out, with your permission, if we could.
Chantel?
Okay.
Well, Stace, if you want a special meeting, we get to that point before we're going to meet again, and you want a special meeting, I'm sure we would be willing to do that, to look at this.
Yeah, I think we need to, because we have projects in behind that. Like Keith said, we're stuck on the 6th floor. So depending on how this thing goes, it may be a solution there as well.
And will they also do design?
Yeah, you can.
Encompasses
you can
every
procure-
aspect of a
You can
of a
procure
project.
design on the back side through this program. It's set up to do that. We won't need that on 6 or the Juvie because we've already,
But in future projects,
Future
we could
projects.
do. Okay. All right. Any questions?
Motion receive report.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, citizens' participation? Okay. Board comments, Charles?
No comment.
Gabe? Okay. New business. New business defined as any matter not known about or which could have been reasonably foreseen prior to the posting of the agenda. This agenda was posted, I believe it was on July 29th. You all learned of the potential issue with our PPE when? Because I learned of it this morning about 5 minutes prior to our meeting. Yesterday morning. Gretchen, can we discuss this issue with our stockpile of PPE at social services and the threat caused by potential mold? Thank you. Okay. Keith? David?
Situation out there, as you know, we've got thousands of dollars worth of PPE in boxes, on pallets. It's not, I wouldn't consider it truly palletized. It's not wrapped. It is loose boxes on pallets, but it is organized for inventory purposes. Moisture in that basement is significant. In fact, there was standing water on the floor last Thursday, when Greg was there last. The moisture content is to the point where there's clearly mold or a mold-type product evident. And the boxes themselves, it's typical Amazon-type shipping boxes and stuff, so they don't have a ton of integrity. But with pallets this tall, the boxes are all starting to sag.
Can I
because
ask
of
you a quick
moisture.
question?
Yes, sir.
As I recall, that basement doesn't have an elevator to get the pallets down in there, so you had to stack them onto the pallets.
There is one elevator. I
Manually?
couldn't tell you of the status of that elevator, but there's also a loading dock
Okay.
directly adjacent from the back of the building, just
To the,
30 feet or less from the palletized material.
okay.
I'm hoping we could shrink wrap what we have and then use pallet jacks or a forklift to quickly move those things out of that space. And if you have a location there in D1 that's dry, that would be a quicker solution.
Well, not, how many pallets are we talking about?
Oh, geez. 15 to 20. Yeah, at least 15 to 20.
That
Of course,
would-
we didn't see what was on the first floor. There's more upstairs.
Pallets on the first floor?
We don't know.
We didn't see that room.
We left, and then we got a phone call saying, hey, there's other stuff on the first floor. So we don't know what that entails.
We palletized this. Thankfully, social services had pallets there that we were able to utilize.
For a short-term solution, and Brian might kill me without talking to him, but we could utilize one of our bays. Of course, that would take that out of commission for servicing our vehicles, but given that this material is expensive, and we need to get it moved, for a short-term solution, put it in one of our bays. But for a longer-term issue, we're also going to need, you're going to need the ability to transport it, so our low boy, something of that nature.
Yes, should be, as long as pallet jacks can climb onto those units. The advantage to D1 storage is close proximity, obviously. There was mention made possibly of something at, up on Lincoln also. I don't know, I'm not familiar with that facility enough to say. It might be another option. Additional storage potentially available on Lincoln. Are you familiar? I don't know that well.
Yeah, we could do something there for sure. That is dock high too, so we would have to pallet jack or use a forklift over there.
Well, if you thought Lincoln would work, rather than moving it to our shop to Lincoln, if we could go directly from social services to Lincoln,
Safe move, absolutely.
I would get with Brian to see that we could get our low boy, and you could just put the pallets on and transport. We'd provide you with a driver.
Do you have availability of shrink wrap stuff?
Yes, we do.
Is that workable?
We'll make it work.
I think so.
You guys agreeable? Okay, all right. Anything else?
Go that way until it doesn't work.
Okay, and then, because it appears we have a roof leak, what are we doing?
It takes $1 million. And also, they had some water damage as a result of the flood, freezing and flooding and that kind of a thing. There is an outstanding insurance claim, and I don't know if they've taken that upon themselves to remedy. I'm not sure where they are. Usually, they take care of everything themselves, and it's only when things become nightmarish do we get a call.
Okay,
But the roof has been, it needs to be replaced if you intend to use the building.
Put a circus tent over the whole thing.
okay, so Keith, when we're done, would you go down and see Karen?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So you guys, I'll get with Brian immediately after this meeting and let him know to expect a call from you, David, about using our haul truck.
Sure. To be honest with you, to make a quick move, because any lengthy exposure in that basement is not a good plan for anyone. I don't know, and I know it would take additional time, so it's probably not a good option, leveraging maybe some CARES Act money to get workforce or transportation or whatever to make a move quick, but I don't think we'd be able to get those funds freed up. I don't know the process that you would be going through for now, but having manpower available to move those things and to do the wrapping and all that is a strong consideration. We'd obviously need inventory control. Greg can handle it on the receiving end when we put it wherever it's going to be stored. The front end would be challenged.
We'll get the resources necessary to get the stuff out of there and make sure that it's protected.
Okay, all right. Just motion to proceed as discussed. Thanks, Charles. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Finally, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, give us a minute. We'll switch over. Good?
I think so.
Good. Good, all right, thank you. Okay, being past 10:15, call the PBA Advisory Committee to order. All three districts are present. Notice meeting was properly posted July 29th. Item 1 is approval of minutes of July 20th. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
2, discussion possible action regarding the ICB exterior envelope project.
We've already completed some investigation in the alley. If you want to go and look,
Was this TAP that did this, or was this the experts that we had to hire to do their job?
this was an outside expert that was brought in.
Okay.
We have another company coming in second week in September to do additional work, and we'll know more after that once we have field reports and information.
Okay, thank you. Is that it on this one?
That's it.
Motion to receive?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3, discuss possible action regarding the repair and replacement of the roof and the HVAC at the Lincoln property.
Guernsey had given us a little bit of a checklist that is being knocked out at this time. The rains that came made evident some areas where flashing needed to be installed in ductwork, around ductwork that penetrates the roof. Chris was taking care of that with Oklahoma Roofing, and I think that'll be the end of it.
Thank you, Chris. Okay,
Okay, motion to receive report.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 4, discuss possible action regarding update on the Kraus property.
Nothing new?
Okay, no action unless you have questions. 5, discuss possible action regarding the Lincoln properties. Anything other than what we just discussed?
No.
Okay, no action unless there are questions. 6, discussing possible action on an update regarding the ICB building.
There is a bit of an update here. I got with David Barnes to discuss possible security for the building, and he's come up with a plan. Says that Homeland Security funds can be used to purchase equipment, X-ray equipment and so forth. He's developed a plan here that you can look at.
Motion to receive document.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
His plan here calls for making the north entrance to the ICB, the entrance on Kerr, the primary entrance, removing an office space to create a platform and improve the field of vision, and then making the entrance on Harvey egress only or badged access. Again, he stated that Homeland Security funds could be used to purchase the equipment. However, we would have to find a funding source for the individuals necessary to man that check station. And he suggested 2 individuals at a cost of around $70,000 annually each.
And how many tenants do we have remaining? I can only think of 2 on the first floor at this time, is that right?
2 or 3, yes.
And do we have space within the building that they could, on other floors that we could relocate to?
I think so, yes. I think it'd be a good time to maybe develop an overall plan for the interior of the building and incorporate this into such a plan.
I appreciate Captain Basin working with you on this. Have we gone up the chain a little bit in the sheriff's office to get feedback from either the undersheriff or the sheriff himself?
I have not. I don't know if David has spoken with them. I don't know what questions would be asked other than, do you have available people, personnel,
Well,
and at what cost?
do you believe it's a good idea to secure this building since we have staff that works in there?
That's another good question.
Well, I think it's a good start. I think since we have some vacancies down there, I think last time we looked at this, I don't understand the hesitation, but some things have changed with regard to the first floor occupancy. And so I think continuing to look at this, bringing all of our staff, I point out every time we talk about this, we have grants group that deals with folks that are facing challenges that is completely unprotected and wide open. We have the state auditor's office in our building. I know that they have expressed that they would like to see the property secure. And even some of the tenants that we have, those that they serve, it would seem to be beneficial that the property is secure. So I'm ready to make a recommendation that, after checking with the sheriff to make sure that he's on board and we'd lock down some of these costs, that we move forward with securing that property again. And I don't know if now's the appropriate time to do that or to ask you to lock down those costs and the sheriff's agreement that the facility needs to be secured and come back. But
I would prefer that. Let's lock them down and then
come
come
Okay.
back. That's what I would prefer.
sure, okay. Okay. Keith, if you'll work with the sheriff, continue to work Captain Bays and the sheriff, lock down the cost, and then let us know.
If this plan is agreeable, I think that will give some, define what we're doing exactly, if that's an agreeable plan. If you want to make some other changes, that might affect costs, so.
Yeah, I think that's a really good start. It's fairly similar to what we had, one of the options I believe we had talked about last time.
Well,
Given that that's the only elevator access.
I'll proceed then using this plan, and we can develop numbers based on that.
Okay. Good with that? You good
Yeah.
with that? Okay.
Yeah, how many tenants are in the building?
I don't know what the count is currently.
And then do you perceive any significant pushback on, I mean, I assume the main entrance now is on Harvey?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I did field one comment from a tenant on the first floor when looking for additional space in the building. It was stated, I'd like to have something, if you're going to secure this, I'd like to have something outside security. That's just one tenant and a comment I fielded last week.
And it didn't look like, I mean, that's not really shaving a lot of current tenant space, is it, this
No,
plan?
it's
It's eliminating one office.
In that one office on the north side? Okay, yeah, just curious. Thank you, that's no more questions.
All right. Anything else?
Uh,
Motion to receive that update?
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. 7, discuss possible action on update on the Metro parking garages.
Our insurance carrier sent us a note directing that we report annual revenues by month, by garage, to their representative, the audit store, in an attempt to adjust our insurance premium. I worked with Karen Kent on this.
Isn't our premium based upon the assessed value of the property, not our revenues?
I think revenues are a component here.
Is it a component of the
the
insurance for these properties? They take a look at our general fund and calculate that into the?
I didn't ask that question.
Looking at it as on the income approach to that new general,
Okay,
which is arguably more applicable to a private entity like a store, or a restaurant, or a hotel. Because governmental buildings are tax exempt, the county assessor doesn't pay value on it. And it is an approach to value.
It would.
So maybe that's what they're doing, and you could question.
It would seem to me, though, the same approach could be used for other PBA properties. If they're using an income approach and they're guaranteeing our income stream should the property be destroyed. So if they're ensuring cash flows, then this is understandable.
okay.
And they are ensuring cash flows, so.
They are insuring cash flow. And they've always insured cash flow?
I don't know if they always have, but after reviewing the policy with Dan before he left, yes.
Okay. And would we report that income then on a month, did you say monthly basis?
Yeah, they asked for an annual figure broken down monthly, sent to this company, the audit store, on behalf of our insurance carrier.
Okay. Any,
We did. Karen did the groundwork there to make sure that this is a viable company, and whether or not, in fact, our insurance carrier did ask for this to happen, and that was correct. She called Travelers directly and found that this is correct.
okay.
I had my suspicions at first, too.
Anything?
Nothing else?
Anything else?
I'll move to receive report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Citizen participation? Anybody? Board comments? Gabe?
No, sir.
Charles?
No comment.
None? New business?
Policy and governance has refined its agenda items to be more specific according to topic, and I think that these two boards need to follow suit.
Okay. So Keith, going forward, we can have, like, if it's Kraus, you could do something related to staffing, ongoing projects, or do we need to identify the project specifically?
Yes, I mean, here we could have done investors' capital category, security.
Staffing, so you could do staffing, budgeting, security.
As these items come up, or put them,
Do an agenda. You know what you're going
So you could do A,
Sometimes I don't
B,
know what
C.
I'm going to talk about. I'll do a better job of that. Thank
So
you.
we'll be doing away with static items from agenda to agenda to agenda.
Right, so,
Or we can include every possible scenario on the agenda,
Yeah.
40 pages long.
I got you, Gretchen.
governance needs to be able to do this.
Yeah, we can do this. You can do
I can do it.
staffing, budgeting, and then, yeah, we can get this done.
Security, insurance issues,
Yeah.
so it can be done.
Just for the record, I'd like it noted that Keith stated he never knows what he's going to talk about.
Write that one down.
Okay.
We don't do verbatim any minutes anymore, but that will be there, right?
Sure.
All right. Gretchen, thank you for that reminder. Anything else? Okay, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye.